All right, so our supplies, we have a ball of yarn right here, and then we have 2 needles. I have a shiny one and a non-shiny one to make a distinction between the two. So to start casting on, we are going to loosen out some yarn, and we're going to make a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, I would leave about 4 to 5 inches of a tail behind, and we're going to make a loop like this. We're going to pull part of the tail through the loop, pinch that, and then we're going to pull tight. And now we have a slip knot to start casting on. We're now going to take the slip knot that we've made, we're going to place it onto one of the needles and pull tight. You don't need to pull too tight because we are going to be moving this stitch around. So now we're going to take the tail and we're going to tuck it under this hand because we don't want to accidentally use the tail. And we're going to take our second needle and we're going to start casting on. So to do this, I move the stitch up towards the top and I'm going to take the second needle and slide the tip underneath and into the stitch. And it's okay to use your fingers at the beginning because it is kind of slippery. And now I'm going to take the string and making sure it's not the tail, take the yarn and you are going to put it in between the needles and separate the loop. It should be right in the middle. I'm now going to pull down the second needle, use the tip to hook the loop and pull it out. Then I'm going to twist it upright. So now they are both facing up and they both have a stitch on them. We're going to use the original needle and through the back side, we are going to transfer our new stitch to the original needle. And now we have 2 stitches. So we're going to repeat this 10 times to create a row of 10. So again, we're going to take the first needle, we're going to use the tip and slide it into our new stitch that we just created. Using our string and not the tail, we are going to loop it in between the needles and create a divide. Use the tip to pull out the string. We're going to use the original needle to transfer through the back side back onto the needle and pull tight. You don't want to pull too tight because we won't be able to move them around, but you also don't want them too loose where they'll slide around. So now we have 3 stitches. I'm going to repeat this process 7 more times to get a total of 10 stitches. I'm going to keep pulling it down a little bit. I'm going to keep repeating. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 more. And we have now cast on 10 stitches. So we now have our cast on stitch. We have 10 total and we're going to begin knitting across. So we're going to keep our cast on stitches in our left hand. We're going to keep the needle with no stitches on the right hand. And we're going to start the same way that we did with the casting on. We're going to slide that needle into the stitch. We're going to pull and separate it. And we're going to do the same move where you pull out the loop that we just created, but instead of twisting it back up, we're going to slide off the back side of the original stitch and keep it onto the second needle. So we're going to repeat that. We're going to put the needle into the loop. We're going to loop around our yarn and we're going to slide it and drop behind the original stitch. And we now have knit 2 stitches. So into the loop, loop around, and we're going to drop off the original stitch. So I'm going to repeat that all the way to the end of the row. I like to keep this finger up here just to make sure the stitches don't fall off and to move around the needle. And make sure you pull tight so that way the stitches aren't too loose and they don't fall off. And I have now just knit one row.